Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 17 of the SMCast. If you guys are unaware, the SMCast is a weekly podcast that we do here on the SM22 YouTube channel. Today is episode 17. Our topic: what kind of videos should you make? And it's coming at a very great time with COPPA, the Children Online Privacy and Protection Act. We will cover that first before we cover into what kind of videos you can make, what kind of videos should you make, especially now since we are in such a political turmoil, as you can say, in the YouTube spectrum. So let's get into that. First up, I would just want to give a little clarification. Last week, I was in a play over the last weekend. It was really fun. I'm recording this about a week after it happened, and it's really great. It really is to be able to do a play and be a part of it. It was so much fun. I really do love all those guys for letting me be a part of it and letting me be myself, which I thought was really amazing. So shout out to all of them. They don't know that I have a YouTube channel because of reasons. But anyway, let's get into this episode. So, COPPA, the Children Online Privacy and Protection Act, is an act passed by the U.S., but also other countries as well, that is trying to control children's safety online. Now, in theory, that is actually amazing. Children do need to remain safe online, and a lot of parents are not doing that themselves, so of course the government took it into their own hands and was like, hey, let's do this ourselves. Kind of like Obamacare, it had a good intention. I don't feel that anyone was intending for COPPA to be what it is, but it is. So what COPPA does, it protects children, and the people who are in charge of it, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, they fined YouTube like $200 million or something along those lines, because of what children were watching on the site. Now, you got to think about it. This was a time where the Spider-Man and Elsa videos were real big. You know those videos. You know, it's Spider-Man and Elsa are very childlike figures, so children like that kind of stuff, and that's fine, you know, because kids are entitled to like what they like. So kids like that, kids watch those videos, but they see that those types of videos are just being predatory onto what it is that children actually like and what children actually watch. I will cover COPPA in its entirety in a separate video, Patriot Act style. I'm going to look through it. I'm going to write jokes about it. It's going to be funny. It's going to be good. Watch that when it comes out. But the general gist is that in order to get rid of that, they have to punish everybody. So what they say is you mark your video or your channel or whatever. You say, yes, this is made for kids. No, this is not made for kids. Now, what's made for kids is very vague. The biggest thing is, will this entertain children? If your answer to that is yes, then yes, you should mark yourself made for kids. If your answer is no, then no, you should not mark yourself made for kids. At least that's what YouTube is trying to tell us. In a nice way, it's saying, hey, do that or else. But it's very flawed in how it's able to do that. Something that kids can be entertained with, or something that can hold a kid's attention, is pretty much anything. Literally anything. If it comes down to gameplay, well, kids like gameplay. You know, it's like it's hitting a brick wall with an even stronger brick wall, you know? So, you can't really go too far with that. I'm doing an epic yawn. So, where was I? Oh, yes. So, they're trying to be vague about it. It says anything that is colorful, anything that says the words such as yeah or nice or cool, stuff the kids would say, of course. It's very vague. Everything is very vague. It's like general stuff, and we all fall into that general stuff, like Pokemon videos, the whole Pokemon community. I would say, according to these guidelines, we should technically be labeling ourselves, yes, we are made for kids, but we can't do that, because if we do that, if we mark our channels, yes, this is made for kids, then every video that we make would not get recommended. It would not show up in search, just because of how the yes, this is made for kids works. So let me cover The differences. No, this is not made for kids. It's very broad. Just it'll show up like usual. It'll send out notifications like usual. It'll get ads like usual. Um, you are subject to a review though. If your video is said no, this is not made for kids, and someone looks through it and is like, yeah, this is made for kids, then they can catch you and they can fine you. And their definition of made for kids is so vague that they could attack literally anybody with this. They're probably not going to attack the smaller channels. I've heard that this is more for like the big boy kind of corporations. But still, if there is someone out there who does want to attack the small channels, they totally can, and there's nobody who could stop them. Now, yes, this is made for kids. You don't show up in recommended, or the video doesn't show up in recommended. People who are subscribed do not get notifications. There are no ads, no personalized ads, which is a huge blow to revenue. It does not show up in search, so if you search the video, you will not find the video. Literally, the only way to watch the video would be to go to the person's channel directly and see the video there, or get a direct link to the video. Now, why people feel that it's necessary, or why YouTube or the FTC feel that it's necessary to just demolish a channel if it says, yes, this is made for kids, is just so dumb. Now, this part does make sense. If you click, yes, this is made for kids, and then the FTC comes in and is like, no, this isn't made for kids, then they can fine you. They can fine you up to $40,000. But like I said, this is mostly for the big boy corporations, like Walmart's YouTube channel, Disney's YouTube channel, stuff like that. And yes, they're probably not going to bother with the little guys, but still, giving us an option like that where either way we would be screwed one way or another just kind of makes it terrible. Like with Pokemon videos, for example. I would have to start cursing like hell in my Pokemon videos just to be able to make them. Because yeah, the gameplay is colorful, but if my commentary was also colorful, then maybe it would balance out. I don't know. Like I couldn't click, yes, this is made for kids, despite Pokemon being colorful and something that children would find entertaining, because if I did that, then my channel wouldn't grow, which means I wouldn't get the opportunity to be one of the big boys that this law is trying to kill. And if I am clicking no, this is not made for kids, then I'm risking someone coming in and being like, yeah, this is made for kids, and then bah, I am just destroyed. Now, admittedly, probably no one's going to do that, so I'm still going to be clicking no, this is not made for kids, but still. Anyway, so with that all in mind, what do you think, first of all? That's my question. What do you think? Do you think that this is a good idea? If you don't think it's a good idea, there is a petition that you can sign. I'll try to remember to link it down below. You can go sign the petition. I have signed the petition. It's probably not going to do too much, but some congressmen and congresswomen and senators and stuff like that have said that they're listening. They're probably not, but they said that they are, which is something. That's more than what we generally get. So I'm proud of that so far. So I think the big deal right now is, how can you make videos with those kinds of limitations? Now here's how you can make videos. Okay, what kind of videos should you make? Now, if you were in gameplay videos, then you are in a serious gray area right here, because the law is saying if you make gameplay videos, then it's technically for kids because it's colorful and it's something kids would find entertaining. But if you do commentary over your gameplay videos, then maybe it could be not made for kids. Like Vinny is a very rated R kind of person, but he's playing a PG kind of game. So if it balances out, then maybe made for kids? It's kind of confusing. Like, the law doesn't specifically say, if you have cursing, then it is not made for kids. It doesn't say that. But you can safely assume that if you are saying bad words or words that children would find offensive, that you should mark no, this isn't made for children. Then does that make sense? I feel like it should balance out in that kind of scenario. So if you were doing gameplay videos, I would just play it by ear. I really would. I feel like this law is going to be repealed at some point. So, what I would say, once this law is repealed, then this episode will be kind of useless. But once the law is repealed, what you can do is just make what you want to make. If you want to make gameplay videos, go for If you want to make vlogs, hells yeah. If you want to make anything really, then just go for it, because you know what? No one's going to stop you anymore, because who cares, you know? But until the law's repealed, what we should be talking about is how to stay safe while making these videos, because there's a lot that's going against you when you're doing content as of right now. Um, for example, the entirety of this law is meant to like screw the creator. That's basically that's basically what it's come down to, and unfortunately, that's about all we're gonna be able to do. Now, like I've said before and time again, this law probably will be repealed. More likely than not, it will. If it doesn't end up being repealed, I'll be very surprised. But for right now, let's just assume that it's going to be here for the time being, because we all know the Congress likes to take forever doing anything. So let's imagine right now, with gameplay videos, it's an extremely gray area. So, like I've said, just play it by ear. With other kinds of videos, now that we're getting into a more black or white kind of issue, if you are a toy review, like freaking Ryan's toy review or something like that, then of course you are made for kids, because it's something that, like, duh, adults don't play with toys unless you're like one of the freaking Star Wars collectors, which that's cool. Like, that's pretty cool. Just on its own standard. But it's kind of clear that, like, with that kind of scenario, it is a kids channel. Now, I'm not saying that all toy reviewers are kids channels, because there are certain kinds of toys that aren't good, but but for the most part, like, it's kind of obvious. If you are a educational channel, like Alan Spicer, for example, okay, now education sounds like it could be for kids, which unfortunately it kind of is. But people like Alan Spicer, his audience is mostly 25 to 30-year-olds, because what he's talking about is something that is relevant to 25 to 30-year-olds. So he says that his content is not made for kids. And unfortunately, I feel like that isn't good enough to the FTC, because the FTC likes to just crap on people just cuz. Okay, nobody likes the FTC. Name one person who likes the FTC, and I will be shocked that you know that one person, because that person is probably not a real person. Like, it's just very, there's a whole lot of gray areas, and unfortunately, that's just how it's gonna be for right now. Just for everything, play it by ear. That's about all I can say. If you think that your content is going to be made for kids, then click made for kids. If you don't think it's going to be click made for, or it's going to be considered made for kids, then don't click made for kids. Like I've said, it's all on a up to the person basis, because they're not having bots go and search through this. I believe that they're going to be having real people go and look through this, because a bot couldn't do it efficiently. Which means that if you're a person who is looking at a video, trying to decide if it's made for kids or not, if you are the creator who has made the video, then you can kind of assume if it is made for kids or not. For example, me, my content is colorful, and I tend to be as PG-13 as possible. But unfortunately, right now, I am just kind of going to be lifting the ante a little bit. I'm going to be a little more experimental in my content for the next few months, I would say. Starting in December, my plan is to not fully move away from Pokemon content, but after we finish the Quadlocke, I'm going to focus more on more other kinds of stuff as opposed to the gameplay stuff. Now, unfortunately, the gameplay stuff is kind of what I've been building myself on this whole time. That's not going away. But I will be taking a break in between stuff like that, and I will be focusing more on stuff that no way could you think is made for kids. I'm going to be doing a lot more vlogs in the future, hopefully. I'm going to be focusing more on like outside stuff, like little things that I like to do. That video on COPPA that I'm hoping to make, I could make into a series. Who knows? Maybe I could do something along those lines. But like, because of this, I'm having to move away from what it is that I'm mainly doing. And that's mostly out of fear. For the most part, like, I'm probably not going to be fined by anything or be, like, attacked by anything, because of course I am a super small guy in the grand scheme of things. But I don't want to take that risk, especially with how risky that kind of stuff is. So I would probably turn from making my Let's Play stuff from like 60 to 70% of the videos that I make to more like 20 to 30% of the videos I make, which is going to be a pretty tough transition, but it's going to be a transition that I believe is necessary, at least as of right now. And if you guys do gameplay stuff, like especially if you do like Nintendo stuff, which is relatively known for being pretty kid friendly, then I would say don't fully don't fully run away from that, but I would take a step back and let the other stuff play out and work on other stuff. Work on other stuff that you like to do on the side while that is all playing in the background. It's kind of like doing homework with your music on in the background. If you're doing homework with the music on in the background, you're technically doing homework, but you're paying attention to what's going on in the background. It's it's all up to personal preference. That's basically what I'm going to say. This whole thing is up to personal preference. If you believe that you can survive, go for it. Make the videos you want to make. If you do not believe that you are going to survive it, then unfortunately you're going to have to take a step back. It does kind of suck, but in the situation that YouTube is in right now, and even the whole internet as of that, in the situation that we are in right now, you cannot go too far. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode or listening to this episode of the SMCast. I really do appreciate it. This is a big deal to me because like this is my I don't want to say life, but this is my pastime. I get so much enjoyment out of making the videos and doing the streams and doing the recordings and doing the editings and stuff like that. It just makes me so happy to be able to do all of this as much as I can. And yes, I don't get paid for it, but I don't really care. This is more of a hobby than anything else. I plan on growing it as a secondary goal, whereas the primary goal is just me being able to be over here and express myself. And it does suck that now because of some people not knowing what how to not be vague and how to be specific, since Congress doesn't know how to be specific, there is a chance that that entire hobby of mine could just be sunk. You know, like I'm not making money off of this. I don't want to be fined money for doing a hobby. You know what I mean? It's probably not going to happen, but the mere fact that it can is probably what's scaring me most. So it's a tough time right now to be an anxious one because that's all you got. That's really all that we are right now. We are just kind of lying in wait. And no matter what, it's gonna be a bumpy ride to get it either repealed or enacted. So it is just it's an uphill battle. So thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. I have been your host, SM22, and this has been the SMCast.